personal
All
information.
right.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, I will continue to let people in as they come, and I want to
Mhm.
honor the time of the people that
Yeah.
are already here. So when it hits
9:30.
9:30, and I'm going to take any, are you okay if I let any notes record as well,
Oh,
Michael?
sure, 100%. You're all good.
Perfect.
Absolutely,
Because I
yeah.
know some people do
Yeah,
that as
let's
well.
send the note takers ahead of them. So yeah, we can
So
be three places at once. See?
wonderful. All
Yeah.
right. So I
Mm.
have you as a speaker. Again, I'm going to
Excellent.
continue to let people in. They're flying in, but you go ahead
Okay.
and take it away, Michael.
Excellent. I'll have screen share, Angie, right? When I
Oh,
need
you
it.
should. Yes. Let
Okay.
me make you
Okay. Perfect. That's a co-host
co-host.
maybe. Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, good seeing everybody this morning. And welcome. My name is Mike Wiseman. For those who haven't yet met, I, of course, for the XP Realty, I am based up in Maine. So I think some of you folks are probably from Minnesota. So maybe we share some weather things in common there. It's been a little warmer the last few days here, actually hitting 40, which has been feels like spring almost compared to what it was. So that's been really good. I run a team up here, so it's called Real Property Team, and I've been with EXP for 5 years. So some of you also may know that I have 6 children, and 5 of them are licensed with and agents with EXP. So I'm still waiting for the most children at EXP award. Haven't got that one yet, but I always joke when I see anybody in leadership on that. I've served on a national agent advisory council for EXP for the last 2 years. Starting on another term right now. I've icon 3 times, was icon of the year in 2023, which is a big honor and a surprise, but was super cool. And what I'm going to show you today has been a really large part of my team's success. And so I'm really going to keep it as there's a lot to go through here. We're going to want to do it in about what, a half an hour, right, Angie? Something like that, thereabouts. Then let leave time for Q&A.
Yes. So if you
Yeah.
could go a half hour to
Yeah.
40 minutes, that'd
Yeah,
be great.
yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to go pretty fast. Okay, we're going to be talking about Google this morning, or yep, and really going over what you should be doing with it, how it's worked for us, how it's working for their agents. Going to go through some of the things that you need to be doing to really get it set up for yourself. And I kind of look at these types of webinars, these types of trainings as I'm old enough to remember when you got a new software program and it came with a really thick manual, like a phone book size manual. Some of you remember that, like Word Perfect or Word. I see Kelly nodding her head, right? And some people, younger people are going like that. What's a manual, right? And but they did come with these big manuals, and so it wasn't because you wanted to read the whole manual, but I would always scan through it, table of contents, first few chapters, because knowing the capabilities of that particular software and what had changed or what had changed since the last version was really the important thing to know. And then when a use came up, or you really wanted to use a mail merge, for example, and that became a thing, that was like a really big thing, doing a mail merge. Today, it's like it's just so basic. You knew it was there, and then you go back and find it. So that's the type of trainings that I'm going to put on for you guys this morning. It's going to go fast. It's going to be an overview. There'll be we're recording it, of course, so you can go back to it. There'll be digital notes from this, but I'm going to show you what you need to know, right? You will know what you need to do for Google at this point, and kind of gauge yourself if you're at the point where it's working as best as it can be for you. My guess is there's always room to improve it, no room to grow it. But knowing what is possible and knowing what the situation is right now with it will allow you then to dive deeper after this call. Does that make sense? Does that sound like a plan? Okay. So with that intro, let's jump into it. I have a version of slides here that I've kind of tried to cut down, edit down to keep it just there's about 20-ish slides. So we are going to go kind of fast, but I will keep it in the time frame as best I can. So let me see, hit the screen share. You want to share this desktop, and then that should bring up some slides, and then I'll go into present mode. And then hopefully in present mode, it won't leave. If you're not seeing the slides at any point in time, unmute, let me know, because sometimes Zoom will do that when you go full screen. You won't see it depending when you're logged in. So here, present. Okay. Okay, so I'm only seeing Angie right now. That's how I minimized it. Angie, you're seeing the screen?
Yes, I am.
Everybody's seeing the screen? Okay, good. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover this morning. Here's what you're going to learn as we go relatively quickly. And this is honestly what Google has done for us, and it's still something I do with all the agents. As my role has transitioned more from in production actively to kind of a team lead role, organization lead role. And by the way, my license now is with EXP Commercial. So we've hybridized our team. A whole nother conversation. I'm not going to have that today. This does work for commercial as well. There's a gentleman in Florida that generates almost all his inbound commercial leasing leads off of Google. So really, whatever that side of the business you're in, but that's where my focus is going to be for the next 12 months is um, really generating a lot of commercial inbound leads and business brokerage leads. So it does work for that too. Okay, so this is what you're going to learn. We're going to learn this morning. We're going to learn how we generate really high. And my son likes to call these. My son Ben, by the way, I'll talk about him, refer to him on and off throughout the call. Of my six kids, he's my youngest son, and he is really the one I'm going to credit with doing most of this, right, and coming up with most of this. Uh, because 6 years ago, Google Business and Google Local Service ads didn't exist in the real estate sector. It was a brand new product for Google with about 6, 7 years ago. It was totally new. Business profiles and Google My Business has been around for a little while longer than that. But this most that we're showing you today is the last 5 years that's really come into fruition. And my son Ben was the one that really brought it to our team here when he came and started doing real estate. Now it's probably about 6 years ago. Okay. So we learn how to generate these high quality, we call them come list my house or come rent me an offer leads. And we'll see what that is, right? And just to give you a little bit of foreshadowing, if you think about the type of leads we're going to generate from Google, right? When does someone go to Google, right? They don't go to Google to browse. Google's not a social media platform. They go to find something, they go to search something. Really important, right? And so when someone goes there and searches real estate agent near me, or real estate agent in Minnesota, or real estate agent in Maine or New Hampshire, or where I operate, they're generally looking, guess what, for a real estate agent or a realtor, right? Which makes them a very high quality lead. And you'll see, I'll share some data with you on that coming up. So these is distinguish it right off the bat. These is not pay per click, get 1,000 leads and maybe get one sale out of it after chasing them for a year and a half. People come to this platform and search on it typically in the last 6 months, sometimes 90 days when they're ready to buy a house. So it's very close to the money leads because they're proactive searches. Okay, we're going to look at the second thing we look at today is what is the local service ads? What are Google local service, the platform? We'll cover some tips and tricks and kind of must knows to get this running properly. And finally, well, I'll give you the framework that we use and how you can really amplify it, right? How your business profile, we're going to learn that there's more than one platform that Google has. It's a big point of confusion for a lot of agents. They don't know which platform they should be setting up first or how they should optimize. And often they think one is the other and the other is the other one. So I'm going to break that down for you as well. So with that quick intro, let's progress through the slides. So here's the big message that I give as sort of every one of these trainings. And here's what I know is a fact. Okay. If you're not getting found and getting phone calls from GLSA is Google Local Service Ads. That's the abbreviation, GLSA. But let's just say if you're not getting found and getting calls from Google, I promise you someone else in your local market is. Right? And I know this now because we've set it up for about 300 plus real estate agents, right? And I see agents all the time at the events that we go to at EXPCon, agents I've done this for, and in my revenue share, and in my revenue share. And some of them will just tell me they can't believe that it's made their businesses. Okay. It made my business. Okay. In Maine. It's why we icon 3 times in a row in 3 years. I say that without any exaggeration. And again, I'll give credit to my son, Ben, even though he's not in the call, but you'll get a chance to meet him hopefully down the line. So if you're not getting the calls, somebody is. And so let's talk about how it kind of got here, right? What the background is, understand this. Okay. Google dominates local search, right? Even as much as AI is taking over and AI is changing things, all search will go to AI powered search in the next 12 months. It's very clear. ChatGPT is becoming a search engine. But keep in mind, they're still searching the internet. They're just doing, and they're filtering through, listings and filtering through websites the same as you would. That's what ChatGPT or any LLM, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT, OpenAI is doing. It is still going out to Google business profiles. It's going to Facebook. It's going to websites. It is still reading all this information, right? So we are changing our kind of our approach a little bit to make it optimized for AI to read it. Remember, AI is basically doing the work that a human normally would have done. And the difference between an AI search and just a straight up search, AI gives you the answer. Like, who's the best real estate agent in Minnesota? And it says Angie Gerber is because it read all the things about Angie Gerber. It read her reviews. It read her profile. It read where she is, what she does. If that was a match for your query, it is. It's going to be there. The AI itself doesn't know Mike or Angie or anybody. It only knows what's going to read. So everything we're talking today is still very applicable in the AI space. So don't get kind of off track. You will hear people say you have to change the way you do things and get found on AI, AI optimization, SEO. It's not really the case. AI is looking on the internet, right? That's what it's a search engine, but it's just processing information. So Google has invested heavily in the last 7 or 8 years to build up its platform to become, this is really key, the most trusted source for finding local businesses. And that includes real estate agents, of course, but service providers. And even today, if any of us went to a totally new market and needed to find a roofer, or I mean, I'm looking at solar for my house right now. Okay, I Google, right, best solar companies near me, right? And I got the Google listings and I read the reviews. So Google is still the go-to search engine, even for the AIs. That was my point there, right? So the AIs are not they're still searching on the web and they're still going to look at Google. So and they've been investing heavily Google in becoming the most trusted source. And this explains why I'm sure there's someone listening to this right now that has had trouble getting verified. It happens all the time. We talk to people every month, every week that are having trouble getting verified. They're stuck somewhere in the process. The reason they're stuck in the process is not that you've done anything wrong, but Google has set the bar pretty high for verifications because they're defending their platform. If they let their platform just become open to anybody that can simply set up a business, so to speak, then it becomes not trusted. And so they make sure that you're actually local, you're actually doing business where you say you're doing business, that the address is a real address, it's a real business, and they'll verify it. And they make us go through hoops sometimes, a lot of ways that feels kind of outrageous, but realize they're doing it to protect the integrity of their platform. Okay. So, this is how I built my business, like probably a lot of you did too. My son likes to call the hamster wheel of marketing, what Ben calls it, and we all can agree with that too. And all these things still work, right? Cold calling expires, right? Listed $1 million expired, yesterday, day before yesterday, with one of my newer agents that we have cold calling. Expired still work. Door knocking will still work, right? I don't generally buy leads, but when you do, the referral fees are going up super high. Obviously, FSBOs are going to work, open houses are going to work. Not suggesting anybody stop any of this if it's working for you. Always take what's working and do what's working. But here's what I know is that this also is something that you need to constantly pour into. It is a hamster wheel of marketing. If you can get the phone ringing in inbound leads and take what's coming towards us, then obviously life can get a lot easier, right? So we want to, like the Wayne Gretzky quote there, skate to the puck is going, not to where it has been. And it is definitely going towards inbound attraction, inbound marketing, right? We could go into some more detail, but let's face it, cold calling, as much as I built my business cold calling. I was an expired listings. I listed 21 listings my first year, 8 years ago, calling expires. Okay. The do not call list is changing all of that. It still is there. It's becoming more challenging. And let's face it, right? As much as I like using the telephone, circle prospecting, all that's changing. And so if you're not getting up on these types of platforms, then you're going to be left behind. And also, you're not relying on the portals. So this is just a very high level overview slide. I actually haven't gone back in a while and totaled it all up. But since about 2020, when we really went big into this, we have closed far more than 100 transactions off inbound calls via Google local profiles. That's just my team personally, right? When we first launched this, we closed 30 deals in 6 months off of Google. And when I say that, I mean literally someone called and said, I have a home to sell. Can you help me? I need to buy a property. Can you take me out to show me homes? And even today, when we see these calls come through, they're not like they used to be. I mean, I won't sugarcoat that. There's more competition in the marketplace right now. There's more agents that are doing this. But like most things, most agents are not doing it correctly or doing it well or doing it consistently enough. And we'll talk about that in a little bit in a few minutes. But these calls typically convert at a 10% or higher rate from the very first call, right? And that typically means every 10 calls that come in, we're generally getting to a closing table in typically just over 3 months. Remember what I said in the beginning of this slide. Someone's searching for a real estate agent to speak to someone, to an agent. They generally have a property to sell. They're not just bored in line, at Trader Joe's trying to kill some time scrolling social media, calling real estate agents because no one wants that kind of abuse, right? No one needs to talk to an agent unless they have to talk to us. Let's face it. So these are ready to go people. Okay, they've read your reviews, right? Your business is what Google says it is. Let's face that. Tom Ferry says that. And consistently, we've made about a 13 times ROI on this, right? In recent years, I've spent up to $20,000 or more on paying for these leads, the LSA leads. I'll talk to how they get charged, and we've generally been at least 13x that in GCI. So, and it's very consistent, right? So if every dollar I spend, I'd make $13. Every thousand's 13,000 in GCI, right? Right? How many phone calls do you want from that? How much would you invest into it, right? As much as you possibly can. And this is what we've done. And now, throughout my kind of broader network, this is what we are doing. So is it what it was then? No, like literally 30 deals in 6 months. That's because we were the first real estate agents in my state to run Google local service ads. There was nobody else. And I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Okay. Um, so I'm going to skip. Oh, well, this is a slide that Ben put in there, but it's not really so relevant to this conversation. This is showing you how when you do a search now, Google recognizes it and AI kicks in, right? Google will say AI search. It's not even. I think it's maybe even out of labs at this point. This is probably a 6-month-old slide. That's how fast AI is changing. Google will give you AI search results now, right? So Google's not going to lose first place. They're too big right now to lose first place as the search engine of record, right? Even though ChatGPT is becoming it's a search engine unto itself, it still has to go to Google to find. It doesn't index every business, so to speak. Google does. Okay, so let's just now understand the platforms. So now we're going to get into kind of the meat and potatoes of the presentation. Remember that user's manual I told you we're going to get an overview of? Here's where this starts right now. So this is a page we're all familiar seeing. I searched real estate agents in Worcester, Massachusetts. Okay, and I got 32,800,000 results. Okay, whoops. Is it going to show up? Let me go forward here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. 32,800,000 results in less than half a second by searching this. Now, the first section I'm highlighting here in blue, this is local service ads, LSA, Google local service ads. It's always presented at the top of every page. If you've conducted a search that Google recognizes is a local business, remember, they're investing a lot of money into this. It's important to them. This is where their revenue growth has been and will be in the very near future, right? Their PPC is kind of maxed out. This is not. So this is the section here, local service ads. Really important to realize this. This, by the way, is called the stack if you're from a search engine expert or online marketer. It's what you see every time you search. So 3 agents are going to present. I'll break this down more in the next couple of slides. But just remember, that's the local service. It says sponsored, real estate agents in Worcester. But even though it says sponsored, it's got the Google screened. It's got the reviews, the 5 stars, how many years in business, if they're open, not open. The one in the middle there, Best Buy team, is one of our agents in Western Mass or Central Mass. Um, the next section down from here, okay, is Google Business Profiles. Okay, often used to be called Google Maps, right? And Google made a big push over the last 10, 15 years even. Yeah, it's at least maybe 20 years when they started this to get your business on Google Maps, get on Google Maps. And they have been consolidating their packages and consolidating their platforms, let's call it. So this is now called Business Profile. Okay, so this section down here is totally organic and free. There doesn't cost any money to be displayed here, to get clicks here. Okay, this section up here, local service ads, does not cost any money to be displayed. No one has spent a dime at all to be in either of these screens on the front page, which is one reason also why it's so valuable. Because what we know is that someone might search 5, 6, 7 times before they actually call somebody. I mean, we all do this, right? You're shopping for something, right? I recently, I got a Tesla, so I've been buying a lot of different things for it, chargers and stations. We're adding different accessories. You'll search 4 or 5 times for the same kind of thing, and if you see the same people coming up or the same companies over and over on the first page, it might be 7 to 10 views before someone clicks you. But this is not costing any money. So if this is free exposure right now. So understand though, these are different platforms. This is the big takeaway in this page. Local service ads, business profile, right? Just because you have one does not mean you have the other, and vice versa. They have different setups, different dashboards, different optimizations, different verifications. So that's why I say some of you are stuck in one of these verifications and you're not even sure which one you're stuck at. But I want you to we're going to talk now about both of these platforms, but we're going to break it down and look at it individually. Okay. This is an example of local service ads on mobile. Okay. And I just show you these because these are just some screenshots of here. The one on the left is a realtor in Nevada, Lonnie Belcher. She's an EXP agent. You're welcome to call Lonnie, talk to her about Google. Okay. You can find her if you're an EXP. She's easy to find. Even if you're not, she's easy to find. Okay. I saw her at EXPCon this past year at the closing party, and she's like, I mean, Google built her business. It's unbelievable. I mean, we're talking about one of the number one agents now in Nevada, right? That came to us with almost nothing and really grew. And she was so appreciative. It's incredible to hear. And I might have her even a case study of her coming up. I'm not sure, but we're talking 20 to 30 deals a year that she's grown off of this platform. This one here is that's one of our searches. We're the number 3 on that one over there. Davian also is someone that we set up on this many years ago. He's been running with that. This one here is Nick Sicard. He's an agent in my group in Vermont, as Jacob is as well. There are two of the top, the other two showing on top. Here it's Kelly is agent in Muncie, Indiana. So this works everywhere and anywhere. It is more challenging in more competitive markets, and you're going to know who you are, right? If you're watching this, if you're in an A-level market, right? Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, and the West Coast, East Coast, on the coastal, the areas that are just still where houses are flying off the shelves, it's more competitive. If you're in more of a secondary, tertiary market, you've got a lot more opportunity. Some of them we call opportunity markets, in fact, where it's just like you can just blow everybody away in a very short amount of time. Okay, so this is the LSA model. So my son Ben came up with a really good metaphor for it. Remember I showed you that earlier screen. Okay, we put it on a billboard here because if I said to you guys in this call, who would like to have a billboard in your town that costs you nothing to be displayed, to be seen? Okay, put your picture in front of people, your information, and you only get charged a very reasonable amount when someone calls you, right? Who would not, so everybody be sign up for that, right? That's what an LSA ad is. A local service ad is a billboard ad, so to speak, at the top of the Google search, and you're only going to get charged if someone actually dials your phone number. Think about that, right? And when they dial that number, if you run this over a long enough period of time, what you'll find is you have at least a 10 times return on what you spend. So if you spend $500, you probably got a 5,000 GCI coming in. It's very consistent around the country. I rarely see less than 10x on this. Okay. If you find that you've spent you're getting bills from Google and you're not getting that kind of results, something is wrong, or it's not this platform. This is local service ads platform. Okay. So let's break it down further now. This is actually looking in. Do you remember that screen shot? This is the top of that Google stack. It's the local service ads, the sponsored section. Okay. So let's understand what we're looking at here. We're looking at, first off, this one has 532 million results, right? Which is kind of an insane number of results. There's always an insane high number of results there. We all know there's not 500 million real estate agents, right, in the world, let alone in Maine. Okay, I know there's a million and 1 million two people in Maine. There's about 5,000 agents in my MLS. So it's obviously but Google always puts that number up there. And they do it because remember, think about the trust and credibility, right? Google is subtly telling us there were millions of results. Here are the best two or three. And whether we realize it or not, that's what's being communicated. So results for Winslow, Maine. Your property team is my group. And a few things here. So on the green check mark, it says Google screened. It used to say next to every single one. Now it's in the section. So, but that's where it shows up. Google will change this week to week. So don't get too hung up on the exact formatting of it. But that Google screened means that Google has looked into these folks. And we'll see what that means in a couple of minutes. There's two spots on desktop, two on mobile, sometimes three on desktop, two on mobile, sometimes three and two, three and three. Again, Google will change it. There's always two to three displayed at the top of every search when Google perceives it as being a local based search. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. You pay per phone call. The phone number you're looking at there, the 207-607-8897 number, is not my phone number. I've never seen it before. I might not ever see it again. Okay, Google, of course, knows my phone number and they have it, it's on it's in the setup, but Google will generate a local area code of the same number you gave them so that you'll appear local and they will assign this number. It's a Google tracking number. And when that number is dialed, that is when I will be proceeded to start the process of being billed by Google. Okay, so though someone dials that phone number, it'll connect to however I actually ask for it to be routed, and it will end up to myself or one of my agents. And we can route this and round robin. We can route it to first to claim. I've had set it up for teams and groups in multiple different ways. Okay, you can go right to your cell phone. It also, we'll talk about, it goes to a 24/7 answering service. We'll talk about why that is in a second. But you never want to miss a call. That's part of getting ranked here. Okay, so Google screened, and you pay per call. And the current market is about $45 a call. When we first started this, it was $20 a call, $25 a call. Okay, but think back to what we said earlier. Let's assume we have a 10% conversion rate, right? And it's still and it's doubled in price from 20 to 45, more than doubled. If it costs $450 to get to one closing table in your market, is that worth it? Okay. In my market, it's about $7,000 to $8,000 commission. It's for sure worth it. So in real estate, it's a very interesting dynamic, right? Even though the call price per call has doubled and Google's doubled their revenue on it, the numbers still make a heck of a lot of sense because of the ratio. This is not true for every industry. When my son Ben began doing this, he was a mobile locksmith down in Denver, Colorado. And the price of the call was about the same, $40 to $50, but the average sale is only 300, 350 when you're a mobile locksmith, right? So very different numbers. So in real estate, it's incredible that we can actually get this type of ROI. And that's why it's become more and more competitive now. So that's
And
the
Michael,
local.
a
Yes,
question
good.
just came up that if it's a spam call, do you still have to pay, or is there any way you can?
Yeah, it's a great question. In the early days, you could dispute the calls one at a time because Google wants this to be what's called Google Local Services is verified leads. You say what you want. So you say, I want buyers and sellers only. You don't tick off rentals, property management, or home services, for example. And whatever you tick off, you get charged for it. Whatever you haven't checked off, you don't pay for. So theoretically, Angie, I get a call from a power washing company, want to sell me power washing, I don't pay for that call. Okay. Now, in the beginning, I could dispute the call and say service not provided. It's a rental call, and landlords don't. We don't do rentals in Maine. Service not provided. I would get a credit. Google has since gone to an AI-based system. Now, Google is listening to every single call. That because it's their number, every call is recorded, and AI is going over it. And two things: if it's less than 30 seconds, the lead's free. So if you're off the phone in 29 seconds, I'm sorry, it's not a service that I provide. I suggest you check out Marketplace or sorry, just can't help you. You can call them back because you get the phone number, you know, 10 minutes later and talk to them about maybe, you're renting. If I could find you a place that potentially has, the mortgage might be less or what's going on, why rent, why not buy? You can do that. And we do have campaigns for that, but you want them off the phone in about 30 seconds, ideally. Okay. If it's not 30 seconds, I tell my agents, don't rush them off the phone. Be courteous, be polite. It's a rental, but say early on. So rentals is not a service that we unfortunately do provide. They might ask you questions after that, but if you use that language, Google should not charge you. That being said, the AI system is not perfect. You will get charged for a few leads you shouldn't have been charged for. And people don't like it, but you know, try to call Google and talk to somebody, right? I mean, there's, how many millions and millions of customers they have. So anyway, you should not pay for spam, but occasionally we do. The ROI is still there. Okay, good question. Okay, so let's move along. This now is Google Business Profiles. This will be the section that next to the maps, right, on the search. Here you're going to see there's almost always three on desktop, often two on mobile. All the leads here are free. Okay, all the setup here is free too. I mean, setup is free on both platforms. This is harder and longer to rank on, right? This is actually to get ranked and recognized on the maps as to be a top spot requires you to make content. You can create posts and updates. That's what it's showing over here, right? It's how many reviews you get, the consistency of your reviews, how often you create updates. And it takes longer to get leads. It's very hyper local. Okay. Local service ads, I can run an entire state, and I do. Okay. Maine's a big state. I mean, I could drive 6 hours north of me. I'm not doing it, but I've sold a lot of property up there through referrals or agents in my group. Okay. So Google local service ads, the previous page, I can set my boundaries anywhere I want, right? I can go statewide, take the leads, and I can become a generator of leads and referrals. Business profiles is not that way. It's hyper local. Okay, it's very much a geographic search. Now, doing it right can significantly boost your ability to get found in local service ads, even if you're not ranking in the top two or three. Just creating the right amount of content here, we have seen will increase your visibility in local service ads. Okay, consistency is the key. Now, just let's think about why that is. If you think about the local service ad, which is the previous slide, right? If I click here, if I go back one, I'm going to go backwards here, right? This local service ads, where Google wants to make money on this, right? They want someone to call that number. Yeah, think about that. They want Google displays for free, makes money when someone calls, and only when that person calling is an actual buyer or seller. So they're really motivated to get you the best quality leads, but also Google wants the best conversion. So if you're doing things right over here, okay, and you have an optimized profile, Google's more than happy to show you in the top two or three all the time if your ad gets clicked on more than others and called more than others, because you're a better producing agent for them. Does that make sense? Just like when you send a referral out, I send a lot of referrals out, right? Who do you send them to? Someone that has a consistent track record of closing, or someone that you send a referral to, and then 6 months later they forgot to call them, or they haven't done the work, right? Google's the exact same way. They're looking at us as their partners. So someone that consistently who gets clicks, and that's because you have the reviews and the reputation, and you've done it right, is going to put you at the top more often. Okay, so we've set the example now between local service ads and business profiles. That's been established. This is Lonnie. I mentioned to her earlier. This is old. I mean, probably haven't updated this in a while. This is a 6 month period though in late October, or right? I mean late 24. she'd already closed, I think about 10 deals, and she's tripled that by far. But just I show you this because you can see what it looks like, right? She had 170 inbound leads, right? Almost 30,000 impressions. Remember, these are free impressions. That was free views, right? Almost 100% of the time we ranked her number one, and then half the time she did rank number one. Okay. And she already closed 13 deals out of 170 leads. She was approaching that 10% conversion rate. And she was about 10xing I can update this, and she's on the calls regularly with with the group. And again, you're welcome to reach out to her if you want to talk to her. I'm using her as an example here, so I don't think she would mind at all. Let me just get rid of those annotations. Okay. But that just gives you an idea of the power of it. So let me go back here. All right. And okay, press ahead. Okay, so here's some of the tips, right? How do you get this? First of all, with business profiles and local service ads, you do want to use your home address. This is counterintuitive to a lot of people. They say I don't want people knowing my home address. It will not be displayed, right? It'll just say serves your area, right? But real estate agents, remember I talked about Google being really strict with their terms and getting to get ranked and to get approved, and it can be a bit kind of a pain in the butt. It is. One of the things that we always recommend is use your home address. Now, if you haven't used your home address and you're verified and approved, don't change it. That'll get you put into Google jail. Your profile gets locked. Why? Because businesses don't generally move, right? Established business tends to stay established. So if they see a change of address, if you've changed brokerages or changed address or changed offices, be very careful about moving it. If you're setting it up for the first time, then yes, you want to use your home address and you tick off a box that says service business, which means you don't receive clients at home. Like think about an electrician, right? They have a truck. You're not going to the electrician's kitchen to sit down and talk about, right? It's not their office usually, it's their truck. So you're a service-based business. Use your home address. It's easy to verify. If you get stuck with the verification, we say if you have LLC paperwork, that will usually do it. Your LLC and your home address, all that kind of lines up. So if you're in Google jail, I'll give you my contact information at the end. It's in the chat. Reach out to me, and I can have one of our people, Ben, or we have a full-time person that does this for all of our agents. His name is Tejas. He can get you out of Google jail. It can take a little while, but we can do it. So home address is the first important thing.
Michael had a quick question that came up.
Yes.
Sharon
Yep.
had to jump off, but she had asked earlier, you might be addressing this, and this is kind of what you're talking about, but do you
Mm.
recommend creating a new site if you do a brand change versus trying to update or change a
No.
current site?
Good question. We recommend setting them up as you or your team agent, right? So if you look at my listings as real property team, right? Real property team, some might say brokered by EXP or not. As long as you're one click away, you're legal in most states from on Google. I do not recommend setting it up with your name and your brokerage unless you feel there's some strong advantage to it. So I would recommend saying real property team, you know, main realtor, main real estate agent, right? Brand yourself, right? Companies come and go. Hopefully not all of them, obviously, but brokerages do change. We know that. A lot of us on here, myself included, have made changes. Um, Take your brand with you. Take control of your brand. Google allows you to do it, and that's how we always advise agents to set up. So you'd be Angie Gerber, real estate agent, Angie Gerber, realtor, Angie Gerber group, team, whatever is allowed. How you want to be branded yourself and known in your market is how you want to set up on your Google. You will have to put your license number and your insurance, which is your company's E&O insurance and all that kind of stuff. But and it will show on the next screen they click on who you're brokered by, but not on the outside display. And that way, all you're doing is changing the name of your brokerage if you ever make a move. Okay, so brand yourself. It's a great question. Really, really valuable question to ask. You must, by the way, and this is in the last 3 or 4 months, have a business profile in order to set up an LSA account. So the first thing is set up your business profile. Then you set up your local service account. Okay, and they're optimized a little bit differently. There's not enough time, obviously. You can see I told you this is a big overview here. We're going to run out of time, so I always try to get more than I think I can. But business profile first, which is the maps section. Local service ads second. So many of you think you have a local service account or Google local account. You probably all have business profiles, a one in way or another, and less of you or few of you have an active local service ads account. Local service ads account is where the close money is where the scalable is where you can grow outside of your region. You're not limited to your hometown. You can go to your county, and we do recommend going bigger, county or usually county level as opposed to small town level, not zip codes. There's a lot of again we can do we have a whole training on this. I mean it's a it's a week 10 days of training and we set this up for people. So, but keep in mind that business profile first, local service ads second. Okay. Local service ads is where you'll start getting the calls and you'll pay for the calls and you'll be happy to get them. Okay. Next tip here. Both profiles have to match exactly. So this ties into the last question, Angie. When you set up your business profile, however it's set up right now, if it needs to be changing it, then you want to change it now, potentially. Don't change the address. Name changes aren't as extreme. But let's say it's Angie Gerber Real Estate, then your local service ads is Angie Gerber Real Estate. It's got to match exactly. Google is looking for this consistency in businesses, right? It's also going to match the search engines, right? It should match everywhere, actually. It's called your NAP, your NAP, your name, address, and phone number. That should match on every platform. It's one of the things that we do when agents come in to us is that we pull up all of their social accounts. And I've been guilty of this as anybody has. I had things saying Keller Williams, a year after I was at EXP, right? So that's not good. That's confusion. Just like a confused mind doesn't make a decision when you're sitting with someone, a client, if you confuse them, neither does a confused search engine or confused AI. It'll just ignore you and go to the next person. So both profiles match exactly, branded to you. Reviews are super important. This is a trust-based platform by definition, so it's reviews. Okay. Reviews are really important to the AI search engines now. This is where we really encourage people to work on your reviews. Get them. You're better off getting one or two a week than 15 or 20 at once. The consistency of them is what Google likes to see. People getting consistent, excellent reviews. And make sure that you tell people what you want when you get a review. Like we run Airbnbs, and we've done it now for many, many years. We have thousands of reviews, and you can give a 5 star, right? People think 4 is good. Airbnb doesn't. If you anybody here like a super host like we are, 4 is a ding on your record. Airbnb 4 was like okay. 5 is met expectations. So whenever you ask for reviews, you want to make sure that you're actually letting your clients know we'd love to get a 5 star review from you, and help them do it. And so we have, again, we don't have time to get into this. We have automations and processes. I have a whole training I do on this, which is using AI to help with it. In a nutshell, I get on the phone with past clients and I have conversations with them and I record it using a note taker like Granola, for example, or electric note taker. And I let them know, I ask them the questions. I want them, how was your experience? Was it a 5 star experience, right? What did you love about working with my team and our group? What was the outcome? Where were you before? Where are you now? And then I say, I'm going to take all the words that you just gave me, condense them down for you, and if I were to send you the link and a summary of what you said, would you copy and paste it for me onto the link I give you for Google? People are like, yeah, that'll get you reviews and really good ones, almost little mini testimonials, right? Because the scariest thing for anybody to look at, like public speaking is like supposed to be the number one fear in the world, right? Like it's supposed to be like one notch ahead of death, supposedly. But the blank page isn't far behind, right? And as someone that I started my career as a copywriter, the blank page, even to a professional writer, is still the most terrifying thing. Almost every writer, if you read Stephen King's books on writing, you know, even Hemingway and these authors write one sentence, one word, 2 words. So if you ask your customer, your client, can you write me a review? And they open it up and that blank box opens up, you'll get like, Angie was great, some version of that. This kind of review will get you in detail, right? A conversation, and you'll write it for them from their own words. Okay. Um, Respond to every review and inquiry with speed. Okay. You need to, when someone reviews you, respond to it, right? You want to follow up with it. It's interaction. It's that this is on the business profile. side of things too, by the way. Reviews from business profiles show on local service ads, not the other way. I can't explain why, but that's the way it is. But we're really responsive to the reviews. Was one more slide. There's supposed to be five. The fifth one is cut out. I'll just say what it is. It's simple. Don't miss a phone call. For local service ads, this is really important, and it's really hard to do. It's close to 100% answer rate. Okay, because if you get below about, we used to say like 80%. I bet it's closer to 90% now, 95%. If you get below, if you miss calls and they just go to your generic voicemail or they don't get answered, okay, remember, Google wants people to use their platform. If they present an agent, they put Mike Wiseman up there, and every time someone clicks on that, right, no one answers the phone to call me, right? Did Google get paid? No. They only got paid if I answered the phone and it was a buyer or seller. So 100% answer rate, right? So we actually built we initially we did it with we actually contracted with an answering service, 24/7 service out of Orlando, Florida, that covered 24/7 and had a script. Now we're an AI-based answering service. So we have an AI bot that says, "Hi, this is Mike Wiseman, digital, AI assistant. Mike's currently just with a client on the other line. Were you looking to buy or sell a property?" And it'll ask him right off the bat, say, perfect, Mike can help with that. Let me see if I can get him on the line. It'll try to live transfer it to me or my agents. So 100% answer rate keeps you at the top of that list. Drop below 90%, 80%, you will drop off the top of that list, even if all reviews. That's how people with like 15, 20 reviews, we see all the time, will outrank someone with 300 reviews. Okay. Because remember, Google wants to deliver the information that's relevant to their clients. And also, how do you have a trusted platform if the experience is not good? So, and part of the experience is when Google recommends Mike or Angie that they answer their phone. And remember, it's their phone number, so they know. So, okay. Angie, that's it. So we're a little over 45 minutes, 46 minutes, but I'm happy to stay on and answer questions. I don't know how long you usually run on these calls. Let me know.
Perfect. No, we have 15 more minutes, so this was
Okay, good. Yeah.
perfect
So,
time.
okay, perfect. So that
Kelly,
was
you
the last
already
slide.
got a hand raised.
Okay, there you go. Let me let's see. I think the next slide
Sure.
is my contact information. So we do have this here. Like, so if that's my full contact information, my email, it's in the chat also. So this is like we have a school community that trains on this, right? And these are mostly free trainings at this point. You can essentially set this up and get it running for yourself. Happy to help you with that. If you're stuck, let us know. Um, so it's you're more than welcome to reach out to me for that, anything there. So let me stop the screen share so I can see people. Does that work? Zoom. Okay, stop share. Okay, cool.
Michael, I have a question. One of
Yeah.
my biggest problems is, we work out of our home. That's one of the benefits of EXP.
Yep.
But my broker is about almost 2 hours north of me.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Google has not accepted my home address as my business address.
Yep.
And so we show up as an address of White Bear Lake, which is 2 hours north, and we can't
Yeah.
get that changed to be our local service area.
Yeah.
So that's my problem now. If I try to set up a local service ads area, showing a different location, am I going to have a problem? Because
Well,
we've been fighting that.
for here's the interesting thing. For local service ads, it's actually not a problem. Business profile, it more is the problem. Okay. Local service ads, I can set up anywhere I have a license, right? I have set up places that I don't do business in all the time with my group, Real Property Team. I run ads in Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Vermont, North Carolina, Florida, but just partnering with an agent down there that wants to get the leads. Local service ads doesn't really care. Local service ads, you say where you want the calls to come from.
Okay.
Okay. Um, as far as getting approved, that's part of what I described in the beginning. It absolutely is possible. There's something, and I can't tell you what that is on a call like this, but like Tejas, he's our Google specialist that Ben trained on this. He lives in Colorado. He could tell you what's wrong. It can be fixed, right? It can be Because we all use I all use home addresses. I have hundreds of agents doing home addresses, and it's usually a matter of the verification wasn't approved. So the best way to solve that is usually like, do you have an LLC, Kelly?
Yes,
Is
actually
it
an S corp.
an S corp? Yeah, well, that's just your tax filing status. Is the LLC is the address of record your home address?
Yes,
That's usually and it matches the name of your business on
yes.
the Google profile. Have you ever sent that to them?
My husband's been dealing with most of that, so that's
Okay.
why I'm like
So,
definitely geared in. And
yeah.
we can
So
take
that
this offline too. I
Yeah,
don't
for
want to suck
sure.
up all the
I
question time.
mean, it's a good question because it's the answer comes up it's one of those like FAQs all the
Yeah.
time. It's the most common problem. That is usually the solution. Sometimes
Okay.
they ask you for and making sure you're set up as a service-based business also,
Sure.
right? Because oddly enough, using a shared address, like my address for EXP is a Regis Center in in Portland, Maine. That's actually against Google's terms of service to use a shared office space. Okay.
Hmm.
So, so in fact, even when I was at KW, if I use the KW Market Center, it's actually against their terms of service for me to set up a business like that because I don't own that building. It's not my space. If I lease space there, it's something else. But so the home address is the ultimate solution, but it won't prevent you from having local service ads set up because that you can set up and run the entire state of Minnesota if you wanted to.
Okay.
You indicate
Perfect.
what areas you serve.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions? So keep them coming.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is so informative. And I was wondering, so on the call, sometimes when I call someone, I'll get their Google recording. So that's what that is. Is that what you're
Yeah.
explaining?
Sometimes it says you have a call from Google.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll hear that coming in. That's
Mm-hmm.
being transferred. Google has played with different things over time where it goes to like a Google Voice that says I'll transfer you to an agent right now, something like that. But yes, you will get that sometimes call from Google, right?
Perfect.
But using the AI, some sort of an AI or 24/7 call center is absolutely like mandatory for it's keeping you ranking up there.
Perfect. And you had mentioned your school community where this
Yep.
training is. Is that kind of at your own pace, or what would it look like
Yep.
for
Some of
someone
it, some
who
of
were
it is,
to?
yep. I mean, we're always updating it and redoing it. We do live trainings in there as well.
Okay.
Generally each week. Someone like just if you're interested in that, you scroll up on the chat. If you have my contact information, send me a text, an email. I can send you an invite for it. It's no problem at all. I could repaste it in the chat. If you came in after, there it is right there. That's all my
Perfect.
contact information, right? Pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
So
Wow, what a resource. Anyone, why we have Michael here with all of his knowledge. And let me tell you, this is only the tip of the iceberg of what this man knows about AI. Does anyone have any questions for him? Any other questions? I encourage you to ask him. He's a wealth of knowledge. And
is
if
anybody here using Google Local Services or have used it and gotten results or not gotten results?
I'm trying to figure out if that's what I have or not. I have a campaign going right now.
So if you have a campaign going and that's what it's called, it's probably not.
Okay.
Are you paying money whether or not you get a phone call? Are you getting charged?
Yep. I'm getting charged a daily fee.
Yeah. Are you getting results from it? Are you getting phone calls? You-
No.
Okay. How long have you been doing it?
Less than a month.
Okay.
But I was so excited for this training. I went on it last week too. So
Okay.
hopefully this will get it squared away.
Yeah. Look, having built a team and done and lead generation, that sort of thing, there's very little lead generation I recommend paying for as far as local service ads. I put most of is where my budget will go. If I don't have like at least usually like a 3x or 5x in 90 days of spending money on something, I tell everybody that calls me, right? We all get calls, right? People offering, all kinds of, you know, so your zip code's available, Realtor.com, Homes.com, right? Which CoStar just bought. Um, if I don't have a positive ROI, typically three x in 90 days, I'm cutting it. It's not going to get better typically. I mean, I'm not looking, it's like, so I've gotten pretty, what's what I'm looking for? Like pretty impatient with lead sources. There's just too many of them. And so, but local service ads, since you're only paying for a phone call and you can control it, you can turn it on or off literally, week by week.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you're seeing such success with this, if you're going to go out and try other things, your margin of error is going to be very small when you know what works.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, pay at closings. I mean, fine. You want to use an Opcity or Realtor.com if you're not paying up front for something, fine. You can pay at closing, and there's a lot of those pay at closing. Some of my agents use Veteran United and these things, and that'll keep you busy or keep you going. But I had one of my agents recently sold. I won't say who the agent is or who they were sold it by, but a fairly steep package. He's just joining my team right now. $450 a month, and this is an agent that's just getting to the business. Is a year in. He's not sold anything. Um, I mean, who sold him that package? It should not have sold him that package, right? It's a $5,000 or $6,000 annual commitment on someone who hasn't sold any real estate yet. That's not going to solve the problem, right? What's solving his problem is I've taught him how to make calling expired, and we listed $1 million property on Monday this week. So I mean that will solve your problem. So be really cautious about paying upfront for any kind of lead flow. That's just my overall advice. The local service ads, because you're only gonna pay when that phone rings.
mhm.
And remember, the only way to get to that is to search real estate agent near me or in your town, in your city, right? People don't do that, like I said during the presentation, because they're bored. Like, no one's that anxious to talk to us. I mean, I hate to say that, but we all know it's true, right? No one's that anxious to talk to us unless they have something real estate related, right? To to talk about. So
Absolutely.
that's why they're really high intent leads, and that's why it's gotten more competitive. But I think anybody that set this up properly, there's certainly a half dozen deals a year that you're not getting right now that will come into you, at about a 10x return. I think that's pretty mo almost every market I've seen that. Some of you have 15, 20 or more transactions that could be coming to you if you're in a smaller or less crowded market, which is considerable.
That's
Yeah,
some people's full goals. So I love that. No, this has
for
been
sure.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I mean, we still generate that collectively over let's say New England. Like, like if I do like let's see here, realtor and doing a search right now. Yeah, like if I do a search, I'll share this screen back here just till we're about to wrap up. But I'll just share like this is a search I just did, right? I just did a search here, Realty New Hampshire, right? You see my screen?
Yep.
So Tiffany Lee, okay, she's an agent of ours in New Hampshire. Okay, great. She's not given up on this for almost three or 4 years. But if I expand this, right, Tiffany Lee, Austin, who else here? Carolyn, not Carolina, Matt from Matt Straight. I mean, almost usually 5 or 6 of the top everything will be someone that's we've helped get here. If I do
Mhm.
Massachusetts, let's see what comes up. I do real estate realtor in Massachusetts. There's Donna. Okay, we've set her up with this. I think Julie also. I'm not positive, but Donna for sure. There's Matt again. Um, Usually there's a bunch more up here that I can find that will all be in Jim Black. We've set up his group. Rachel is one of the agents that I set this up for. Best Buy team is a group team that we set this up for. So, and it will vary who gets to be in the top, right?
Mhm.
But as you set this up, so we are still. I bet we're closing 30 to 40 deals. Here's Nick, who's my frontline agents. I mean, Nick blew his business up with this in Vermont. There was more business than he could handle. He had to hire people, right?
Good
Nick,
problem to have.
Jacob, yeah. Um, so it's not to be like just brush to the side. If you're not doing it, absolutely don't sit on it. There's no downside to get it started. It costs you no money to set this up.
Yeah. And I just had another question come in. So
You bet.
Holly said, I plan on completing the Google verification video soon to complete my business profile. Do you have
Mm.
any quick tips on creating this video to get it approved?
Uh, um, So that's Holly
Yes.
on the screen. Holly, what address are you using to verify? Your home address?
Yeah, I put my home address in, but I
Okay.
haven't
Okay.
created the video yet, so I wasn't sure what
Okay.
I needed to include.
Yep. So typically they're gonna the videos are like starting like almost like at your street corner, a street sign to show the location, walking into the house, show the mailbox, the front door, walking in, going to if you have an office or something like that, or even if it's a table set up when you first walk in, like a little desk, something like that. So you actually show location. If you also have LLC paperwork that matches, that'll usually get you verified for your home address and as a service-based business.
Okay, great. Thanks. I was
Yeah.
wondering if I needed to show my house, and so I'll pull up my paperwork and some business
Yeah,
cards
it's
and do
usually that
all
whole
that.
thing. I mean, again, they're not they're strict, but like I said in the beginning, it's because they're defending this platform. Because think about if they weren't. Here's what would happen, right? You'd have really kind of people that would basically it would hack the system. You'd have all these big lead aggregators opening up all over the country with mega real estate company, right? Blah blah blah.com, and they get a mailbox, etc., or whatever they call UPS store address, right? A shared address. They would set up in every county, every town, every state, and they would just grab the leads and they would resell the leads, literally resell them. Okay. Google wants this to be people like you and me and everybody on this call, the local realtors. That's as a platform for us, for local businesses. And if Google it's the same in the solar industry. They won't put in the solar, any industry, roofers, they will not let the lead aggregators. That's often the first searches, right? We know that, right? If you search the first searches that you see when you search for like anybody ever move and look for a moving company, right? The first three searches are always aggregators, roofers as well. Now you see it, right? They're always like they're not the roofing company. It might sound like one, but they're gonna sell that lead. They're just aggregators. And those local service platform, Google really is fighting, and they set it up to keep that out. So that's why, Holly, they ask for these kind of what sometimes seems to be ridiculous requests to get verified because you're going to prove. And again, if you get stuck, save my number, save my email. Like I said, we have a guy named Tejas that works for us, and he can usually get it fixed, get you through. So I'm happy to make that available to anybody on the call. Just let me know.
Thank you.
Hmm.
You bet.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. You're
Yeah.
great. Appreciate all this information, and it will
Yeah, it's
be
a
up
lot.
on, the group, few different places. You'll put it up as well too, I'm sure, but reach out to Michael, myself, or Carrie if you need any of the information from today or Michael's information as well.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We'll see you next month. And in the meantime, go sell something.
That's the name of the game.
Bye.
Cool. Thanks.